Greetings, Africa. My name is Jerimonia Zungu, your host today on JailBreak Africa. So, this is where we are trying to liberate Africa in terms of mindset, in terms of how we think, especially to do about business, to do about our economics. We dwell on sales, we dwell on finance, we dwell on technology. So, today we've got an interesting topic, and I've got my guest all the way from Zambia, Tamuka Chinzende, and today we're talking about AI. Welcome, Tamuka.
Thank you so much, Jerry. I'm happy to be here.
Yes, AI. What's happening in the world of technology? Most of the people, I still remember I was asking this other company, and I asked if how many are using AI. I only saw one or two people who are using AI in the company. What do you have to say about that, especially living in... I still remember, just day before yesterday, it was on the 24th of December.
Yeah.
I just said to myself, let me do the job descriptions. I wanted to do about 9 job descriptions. And usually it used to take me almost a full day or 2 days of actually researching on the job description. But due to AI, I only got those job descriptions in less than 45 minutes. I had all my 9 job descriptions. I'd posted on Vacancy Mail. And shout out to Vacancy Mail, by the way. Just imagine the power of AI. So it simply means I can replace all my HR officers because I now have AI. It's not easy.
Exactly.
Talk to me about it.
Was one of the things that's actually happening, especially in the world of AI, is AI is basically going to change everything. And if you're actually looking at it, I think the biggest analogy that I can give, let's maybe say we're back in 1997, and you discover that there is something that is called email, and a lot of American companies, they're actually using it at the end of the day. And maybe there is the internet itself that isn't actually gotten to catch on. That's basically where we are with AI in 2023. And one of the things that I actually find is that back in 1998, there are actually companies that refused to innovate, to even go on the internet, to actually say that, no, we are not going to be using email. We'll still actually be writing memos and letters and actually getting to send them. And I can actually bet that most of those companies, they're actually out of business. Even apart from that, we can even go back to 1901. I think in 1901, one of the biggest companies in the world was actually a company that was manufacturing horse saddles. Like those saddles that they actually get to put on horses. And then Henry Ford was actually manufacturing the first automobile. They ignored Henry Ford. 10 years later, they were actually out of business. So one of the things that I actually find, especially when it comes to AI, was AI is not a fad. It's something that is basically going to change everything in terms of how we actually get to do business. Like what you actually highlighted, you've discovered the power of AI at work, to actually say that sometimes maybe you would assign someone to do a job description for you, and maybe they'll say that I need 2 hours to actually work on this, and AI can actually get to do that in 5 minutes. So, and this is not only maybe about the job descriptions, because right now I can tell you there are people who are training AIs to be able to do financial statements.
Exactly.
There are people who are training AIs to be able to create content. Budgets, strategy, and everything in between. All of those are actually changes that are actually happening in real time as we're actually getting to speak. So, and actually find that over time it's going to replace everything. That's actually going to happen. I think there was basically an estimation that I read to actually say that AI is going to replace about 60% of the jobs that are currently being done right now. And one of the things was, the funny thing is to actually say that just 2 years ago, this is a conversation that was happening 2 years ago. A lot of people are actually saying that when it comes to AI, the first people who are going to be replaced are, let's maybe say, the blue-collar workers. And then from the blue-collar workers, the white-collar workers. And then from the white-collar workers is going to be maybe the creatives, like your designers, your editors.
Exactly,
But it's actually happening in the reverse. to actually say that the first people who are actually being replaced by AI
Designers.
are actually creatives, the
Creatives.
designers. Right now, there is an AI that you just type in it, it can actually even create a video for you. So the whole Hollywood industry right now, it's at risk of being replaced through AI. You actually have AI that produces flyers, which actually means that all the designers, people are learning Photoshop and everything in between, they are also at risk of actually being replaced. And it turns out that the harder skills to actually replace are actually going to be the hard skills at the end of the day. Let's maybe say on the blue collars, I think our vice president called them the khaki jobs.
The khaki jobs.
The khaki jobs. So there are exciting changes that are happening, and also even some scary changes as well that are happening.
So talking about that, Tamuka, I'm just thinking, you've said jobs are going to be replaced. In terms of Africa, because our conversations they are specifically for Africa. As much as the world is making changes, the world is leading in terms of technology. Unfortunately, we don't have any African country which is participating in AI. Do we have any country, before I can mislead our viewers, do we have any African country which has actually produced our own AI, or which is actually putting funds, setting aside money to do or to produce an AI app or AI research?
Yeah, because thank you so much for that important question, Jade. One of the things that I actually find, and it's something that's actually breaking my heart every time, is on a policy level in Africa, it's like everything that's actually happening, it doesn't even exist. And if you then get to actually look at it, right now, the leading voices in terms of AI globally, I think among the top 10, you actually have 2 Africans. And those Africans, they're actually 2 Zimbabweans who are actually leading the conversation on AI. I think you have James Manyika, who's actually the vice president of AI research at Google. And you also even have Strife Masio, basically. They're actually leading some of these conversations, especially when it comes to artificial intelligence. But now when it actually comes to a policy level in terms of our governments, nothing is being done in it.
Yeah, like what you've said, Dr. Strive, Dr. Manyika, they are leading the conversations.
Yeah.
Are we participating? Are we walking the talk? Because there's a difference of just shouting and speaking. But are we actually performing, or we're waiting for Elon Musk to come up with something else again? We are waiting for, yes, Elon Musk is an African.
Yeah.
But right now, I think he can actually even forget to call himself South African.
He's South African.
Because right now, I think he's an American.
He's an American
and all
now.
those projects which he's doing from SpaceX are being funded by America. There's no Africa which is actually leading in those kind of initiatives.
Exactly.
So the question now is, yes, we are not participating in terms of establishing our own AI platforms, but are our students, are our workforce, right now, if I'm going to hire an HR, if I'm going to hire an accountant, if I'm going to hire a consultant, are these guys able to use AI? How are our universities? I've read 2 budgets. The budget of Zimbabwe, the budget of Zambia. There was absolutely nothing. Nothing was mentioned on AI. It was as if it's not even in existence. So the question is, how is our education in terms of our workforce, in terms of our students? Are they learning anything to do with AI?
So thank you so much for that. So one of my rituals that I always do, like on a yearly basis, is I usually take the curriculums for IT in terms of the universities. For let's take, for example, I think in Zimbabwe we have the University of Zimbabwe, which is basically the biggest university that is there, just to actually see in terms of what's new and what's actually being learned. And the disappointing thing, especially when it comes to our curriculum, nothing is changing. It's basically looking the same. What we just had like from 4 years ago is basically what we still have now. And the challenge is to actually say that what was working 4 years ago, right now it's no longer relevant.
It's no longer relevant.
It's no longer relevant in terms of actually even being catching up and everything in between. It's no longer relevant. So one of the things that I actually find is that on a curriculum level right now, we are actually not getting to address all these changes that are actually happening. I can tell you that someone who's actually going to be maybe part 1 doing computer science right now, maybe the technologies that they're actually going to be taught are technologies that are relevant maybe in the 1990s to 2010s at the end of the day. So that's the biggest challenge that we actually have in terms of actually getting to catch on.
That's still being taught about facts.
Exactly, because you actually you actually maybe have the facts and then even when it actually comes to let's maybe say web development, like the frameworks that are actually being taught,
the language,
exactly, they're actually the old frameworks that are there. Yet now we're actually saying that everything is now, it's now possible to actually integrate everything with AI. AI can produce a website faster than a developer can do. But all of those things are things that are not being paid attention to. So it's something that is scary. And one of the things that I actually find is that those are the very same students that are actually going to be put into the job force. Now imagine a situation like this, Jerry. You hire a developer today, and then you ask them, okay, the basic, boss, you can actually say that the basic of AI is ChatGPT. Do you know ChatGPT? Someone will say, I don't have an account. I've never used it before. That's scary. That's scary.
Even right now, should we even be recruiting someone who doesn't know AI?
No. It's because my recommendation would actually be to say no. And the sad thing, there is a certain consultancy company that I heard of in Zim. I'm not going to mention it. They banned the use of ChatGPT, which is scary. Now
they banned the use of ChatGPT. Why?
Which is
what were the reasons?
Scary. What's their reason? And they actually find that it's an office like of the major like big 4 consultancy firms. And their reason was to actually say that, okay, ChatGPT is going to make maybe people lazy at the end of the day. But one of the things that are the was, yes, when it actually comes to AI, right now, if you ask me to actually say that are exams still relevant, I would actually say that exams are no longer relevant. I think exams, they went irrelevant the moment the internet came into play.
Exactly.
Because you actually find that what the internet did when the internet came into play is that it made it easy to access information. And one of the things that exams maybe are supposed to actually measure is basically knowledge retention. To actually say that, okay, the knowledge that you learned, are you able to just maybe draw it like with your fingertips? Is it actually at your fingertips? But now with the internet, you have a device in your phone that you can actually use to look up anything that you want to look up.
Why should I in a minute? My mind suffer?
And then why should I actually cram all that information in my mind if I actually basically have a phone? Right, that I can access and I can get all the information that I need. That's the same thing that actually happening with artificial intelligence right now. To actually say that, okay, if I have an AI, to actually say that I need to, like what you highlighted, I need to draft a job description. I'm sure students in HR right now, they have a module where they are taught how to do a job description, which is now a very irrelevant module.
And even right now, how to conduct an HR audit. Because I still remember, I just texted, I just said, no, let me research. How can I conduct an HR audit? Boom, all the information was there. And the whole structure was there. It's just for me to implement.
It's just to implement. So all of those things, those are basically some of the knowledge that is there, which even means that fundamentally the way students are actually being taught things, all of those things will actually need to change at the end of the day. Because what matters now is actually in terms of the principles to actually say that, okay, can you practically apply the information that you're actually being given? Not just saying that you have information, you cram, you pass, you forget. But it's actually about then saying that, okay, the information that you have, let's maybe say if I'm to give you an information, a step-by-step tutorial right now, can you actually be able to apply it from that? And it's a headache.
That reminds me, I went to use that for a public lecture sometime last month. I think that was it was this month. I think early this month.
Yeah.
And I was lecturing 50 people who are doing masters in business administration. And I asked in that class, how many are on AI? And only 2 people out of 50 knows about AI. And the scary part is all these 48 are employed somewhere, high positions. So what does it say about our industry in Africa? Because we're not talking about Zimbabwe only.
Yeah.
We're not talking about Zambia only. We're talking about Botswana. But what
exactly.
does it say? And where are we going as Africa in terms of adopting these tools? Which are saying, no, let us not generate them as Africa. We can easily, you say, I think, is it Picasso? He said, good artists, they do what?
They copy.
They copy. And great artists, they steal.
Yeah.
So after AI has been introduced, why are we not taking advantage of these tools as Africa?
Yeah. Was even to answer on that, there's something that I actually read. I was reading this report by McKinsey, and then McKinsey was actually saying that by 2030, artificial intelligence is going to add 30 trillion to the global GDP. When I read that, yes, it's an exciting statement, but how much of that 30 trillion is going to come to Africa? That's the question that I was asking myself.
Exactly.
I actually said that, okay, 30 trillion might be added globally. USA, maybe America might get 15, Europe maybe might get 7, China maybe might get 8, because of like the research that they're actually doing. Africa might even get less than 50 billion right now at this rate that we are actually at. So one of the things that I actually find, even within like organizations, was it's actually scary to actually say that, okay, if you have MBA students, because all these guys are actually the people who are going to be running some of our business companies into the future. And right now, in terms of connecting with what's happening on the present, it's something that is actually lacking. And I believe that, yes, in terms of companies should actually be spearheading in terms of that, but it's also even the owners, like of professional organizations, training institutions, when it actually comes to universities. But sometimes it's about being able to connect in terms of what's actually getting to happen. And how can you actually even get to improve, especially when it comes to the processes that are actually happening right now. Was the scary thing right now, even if you look at AI research labs, the United States, as we speak, is, I think in terms of the total number, it is actually about 1,500 artificial intelligence research labs.
What about Africa?
Guess about Africa.
We do how many?
Less than 3.
In which country?
So there is basically 2 that are actually in Nigeria, and then you have 1 in Kenya. That are
0 in Southern Africa.
0 in Southern Africa. So one of the things that I actually find is that these are scary numbers if you actually get to look at them. And one of the things that you then find is that as long as this is happening, I think you've also even faced it. Like, let's maybe say with Siri. A lot of people in Zim, they have iPhones. They use Siri. But they actually find that it's difficult for Siri to pick up the Zimbabwean accent.
Exactly.
Even if you are using tools like Google Assistant, it's difficult for them to actually pick up the our local accents. And why is that so? You actually find that if the guys in the United States are actually training Siri, but Siri is an AI. If they're actually training it, they're training it using American information,
exactly.
European data.
Exactly.
But now, in terms of us locally now, even when it comes to research itself, I think all African countries should even be funding research. Because it's even the scary thing right now, even if you look at it, I think you look at the financial results of companies. The financial results of companies in Europe, in the Americas, they always have money that actually goes into research and development. I was looking at the financial results for Facebook for last year. They basically invested $26 billion into research and development. Into research. You look at African companies, I was trying to actually look to say that, okay, R&D, basically where is R&D?
Zero.
There are one or two companies, maybe that is, see that they put 50,000 here, they put 100,000 there, but it doesn't make sense that a company maybe it has made revenue of 500 million, and then maybe they put 50,000 into research and development. That's scary. Even when it actually comes to universities, the research that is actually being funded, yes, agricultural research is actually being funded, but what's happening with ICT research? Because ICT is going to control everything. It's basically going to control everything. I think even when it comes to our budget, I was actually expecting to say that, okay,
we don't have
ICT
even $100,000
exactly,
on ICT research.
On ICT.
But anyway, do you know that even right now it's scary that some of the governments in Africa, they are still using Gmail as their official email. And these same African countries are also complaining that United States of America, they steal our information, they don't like us, but at the same time, you are using Gmail. It simply means it's a server which is controlled by Americans. So anyway, I think we need another conversations of AI in future. But for now, I think we need to take a break. We actually have another episode of AI. So as you hear from Tamuka, it's scary. It's astonishing. It's amazing that Africa, we only have 3 research labs for AI. Our students are not being taught AI. Our universities are not teaching AI. We're still teaching the old syllabus. Right now, as you notice that, even the cameras, they are being replaced by the iPhone. You notice that most of the stuff which we're doing is being replaced every day. He mentioned about Henry Ford, that as he was busy creating and manufacturing vehicles, someone was still manufacturing horseshoes. So, guys, we need to change our mindset. We need to free our minds. We need to be proactive. Instead of thinking about, Africans, when it starts to rain, they think about sex. They think about getting between the sheets instead of thinking about how can we develop our continent? How can we develop our farms? How can farmers take advantage of AI? Take advantage of drones when they're doing land use planning? So this is what we are supposed to be talking about as Africa. The conversations must change. Let us get into 2024 whilst we are changed Africa, we are a changed continent. We can make it as Africa. I've got hope for Africans. It's Jerry Monya Zungu, the Chartered Vendor. Bye-bye for now.